welcome to the J-Train Podcast. It's J-Train, Jared Freid, coming live from Raleigh, North Carolina. That's right, on the road again. I'm serving funnies on the road again.
Oh, man. Do not call the special serving funnies, please.
Serving funnies. Serving funnies with J-Train. Bringing a hot steaming cup of ha.
It's better with J-Train is better.
With J-Train, yeah, that adds a little bit.
It's so clearly silly. People that don't know you're going to be like, who the fuck is this asshole?
Well, I mean, people, and listen, for those listening at home, let me introduce my guest. I'm very excited. Hilarious comic. He's been on the show before. Sam Morrell, everybody. Sam, thank you for coming on.
From Baltimore.
All the two guys on the road taping a podcast. Indoors. How do you feel? Now, listen, for those at home that don't know, you should all go follow Sam on Instagram, @Sam Morrell. He's got a special, and we're just discussing the nature of how these specials are working now.
Yeah. Sam
is you're like the Lewis and Clark of YouTube specials.
I wouldn't say that. I think Schultz did the YouTube thing before me. And
Schultz is the guy now for all
YouTube,
of us. But
sure, yeah.
but you kind of, I guess you followed his footsteps to make a path.
Yeah. I think. I mean, it wasn't like it was my choice. It was kind of like, everyone passed, and I was like, well, I'm putting this out. It wasn't
explain that to people, because this isn't, as people know, this isn't a comedy podcast.
Sure.
We're going to give advice. This isn't like Inside Baseball. And I think it's actually because this is a lifestyle advice podcast that is funny with comics. Mm-hmm. You are a great example of a lot, that people could follow into no matter what industry they've chosen. Don't you think?
Yeah, it's a lot of work. People are like, I'll produce. I'm like, well, just be aware. Like, I've been doing them on rooftops now and recording it, and it's something goes wrong on every roof. There's always like someone who's like
on every roof. Now you sound like you're a producer on the Fear Factor. You're like, we can't get the lighting right when people are eating the scorpions.
That's what it feels like, man. I really, it's so much work. So yeah, I taped a special. With the plan to sell it somewhere.
So for people at home, when basically there's two routes. There's one that's like, if you watch a Netflix special, that person was either tapped on the shoulder by Netflix, and Mr. Netflix was like, here's $1 million and we'll make a special. You can say whatever you'd like. Then there's the B route, which is
Mr.
we
pitched
Netflix.
To everyone. We pitched to everyone.
So you pitched before even taping.
Yeah. We
Okay.
I did 2 shows in LA and 2 in New York where we had those types of people come out, HBO, those people, and some of them bit a little bit, and then others were like, it's not really right for us, whatever. So
what's their feedback? It's not. I mean, like, I have to tell people, Sam, you're a great comic. You're people. There are comics that look up to you. You're a great writer. Like, what could they? So for a lot of people, it's like, you're a good stand-up comic, so their feedback has to be in the margins of life where it's like these sad realities, right?
It's usually like we looked at it. It's not like detailed. It's not like you're not good. It's just like it's a pass. That's all. It's like It's
but
like
you're not good isn't the correct answer. You know that.
I know, but it's not like you go up to a girl in a bar and she's like, here's what's wrong with you. It's just a no. It's just like not interested. That's all it is.
Sure. It's a black or white answer.
It's a pass. It's not like, it's not right for us, But then, I'm going around again, and it's kind of like, well, this last one got over 4 million views on YouTube, so it did pretty well. But then that might be the move now. It's like, if you're not on Netflix, you kind of might think of YouTube. Used to be a joke. Like, I've been brought on stage recently where they're like, he's got a new special on YouTube, and the audience laughs, and I'm like, it's not a joke.
No.
But they don't get that.
You're making money off of it. Like, it's a legitimate career move. Right. And people are seeing it and responding to it and coming to shows. Like, I understand. It's like, you want them to be like, he was on Conan, he was on, Leno or whatever, and he's put out this special.
I think Leno is less impressive than YouTube at this point. I think they're like,
what? Whatever. Yeah, you're right. Is he 85?
This guy was on Tom Snyder.
What's Time Snyder?
He was like the CBS Late Show guy after Letterman for a while.
Oh, really?
In like the 90s, yeah. Exactly.
Sounds like an uncle of mine. So you go around, they're like, not for me, and you're like, I'm putting it on YouTube, and now it's on Comedy Central's YouTube page. It has over 3 million hits. I get texts about it because people know I know. 4.1?
Yeah.
I mean, that's legit. That's
It's crazy. It's crazy that's how you kind of have to do it. I was advised by other people not to just give it away like that, but I think, you know, in my mind, I'm like, well, I'll make the money back on the road. And then I put it out in February, and something happened this year to the road.
It's just like, game over. You're going to stay. Mr. COVID was like, we're going to take a pass on your live dates.
Yeah, Mr. COVID and Mr. Netflix are in cahoots. And well, no, it's really it's a wild year. So, but I mean, look, we're back on the road. We're trying to be safe and making it work, right?
And we're trying to make it work. And I think the social media world, like, you know, we're lucky to have it. You know, I do feel lucky because, you know, someone messaged me today. I posted on Instagram stories, and they were like, they got a message from a friend of theirs being like, I saw this guy, Jared Freid. And then the guy was like, I've been listening to his podcast for 10 years. And he's like, dude, he was hilarious. And it's like, that was kind of the goal the whole time. It's like, let's start a podcast so I can direct to consumer, you know, funnies. I'm serving funnies direct to consumer. Right. You are doing that with YouTube. You've cut out the middleman. You've cut out Mr. Netflix. You've cut out Mr. HBO. You've cut out Mrs. Showtime. You know,
I know, but it's so much more work this way. I would love for someone to just
more work.
I'm literally like, for this new one I'm doing, I'm literally doing it on rooftops, and I'm kind of like, all right, so this roof, I'm like figuring out, I'm doing all the logistics as well. Yeah. So they're like, can I bring my friend? I'm like, all right, yeah, but we're like close. And I'm realizing, like, with these roofs, you have to, it's so weird to talk about it like this, but with these roofs, you have to over-invite, because, especially if I'm doing a free one, because people just don't value, or even if they spend $15, these aren't Hamilton tickets.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're going to be like, oh, fuck it, I don't feel like going to a roof right now. You know, it's not like
of course.
It's not a guarantee.
So how do you get people to come? Are you just like?
I would just post on Instagram and say, in my stories, and say, who's got a roof? And I would bring cameramen. So I'd say, if you could throw me a few $100s, that'd be great. And if not, I'll prioritize the ones that do pay. And most of them were pretty generous. So
basically you're saying, can I get a roof? And you pay, and then you say, you pay me to come to your roof, and you invite your friends, and you guys divvy up the cash.
Yes.
And so now you're basically doing a private show for a group of people that you're now going to compile as a YouTube special.
I think that's what I'm thinking. Yeah,
I think that's a fantastic idea.
It looks beautiful. It's so illegal. We set off fireworks last night. I was like, this can't be more illegal unless we like started bringing hookers up here. This is ridiculous. It's great, but it's beautiful. It's like we have a drone shot of the fireworks. I was like, man, this is like a celebration of New York. Like, I get so mad when people say New York is dead. So, you know.
Also a celebration of like, hey, I've said this at a few of my shows where I'm like, this is as bad as this is a moment. This is a moment. This is something to remember. You're going to say, I can't believe I went to a comedy show on a rooftop for Sam Morril. And you'll be doing, you know, whatever you're doing 10 years from now in comedy and be a big star. And someone will go, remember we were there at you know, like, that is kind of sweet and nice if you can forget about the 200,000 deaths, you know, like for 5 seconds.
Other than that, though, unless a worse pandemic hits, and then I'm like, fuck, I guess I'm back on roofs. I'm just a roofer now. It's so weird.
You learn how to spackle. You're like, I'm going to just double up. So
I do comedy, then I move your stuff. I'm a mover, a roofer, and yeah.
So we were talking before, like, it is, when you go like DIY, it's a lot of work. And like, part of our day is social media editor for ourselves to like
crazy
put this shit out. And it's like, you know, you got YouTube now. Like, I'm trying to push YouTube with the Bachelorette after show. Like, it's weird that I do think of the comics from the 80s, and I'm like, man, they must have been fucking bored. Like they had nothing to do.
I'm also furious when they talk about how tough it was. I'm like, oh, did Paul Reiser have to send clips to an editor every day? You know?
Yeah. Did Paul Reiser have to figure out the perfect caption? You know,
exactly.
and then say link in bio, and then go, fuck, I forgot to tag the guy who made the video. Yeah, it's a whole thing.
They just
and again
specials. They didn't have to do 900 podcasts to promote it. They didn't have to do. I mean, I guess they had to do like morning radio, but I think morning radio helped back then.
Yeah, they walked in drunk. They weren't setting up the Zoom. You know, they weren't.
Although this is pretty cool that like, thank God, like this pandemic hit at a time where like, man. Think about if this happened in like the 90s and there was no Zoom or like anything like that. I
mean, so that's the thing. We're lucky. It's a double-edged sword. As we're talking from Baltimore and Raleigh, two places that were doing shows tonight, doubling up to get work done, to have that. So it all kind of, and listen, it started with I was telling you before, like it was Facebook at one time, me being like, click my link because I got an article out. And then it became and that was like weed. And then Instagram was like cocaine.
Right.
And now I'm on TikTok, and TikTok is basically heroin. Like I am injecting TikTok into my veins. Are you on TikTok?
I am, yeah. I think I have more TikTok followers than Instagram followers. For whatever reason, I got on early, and
early's good with all these things.
Well, I had a comic, Alon Altman, tell me, he's like, you got to get on TikTok. That's the wave of the future. And I was like, all right. So I'll post clips here and there. It frightens me. It feels like, it's like when you get like, it's like the guy who watches too many sports. It's like the guy who's like, all right, we got football, we got baseball, we got basketball. And then he like starts watching lacrosse and you're like, that's what TikTok is. It's lacrosse. We don't need this many. You know what I mean?
No, we don't.
It's aggressive.
You can get all of the TikTok features out of Instagram. It's just not as good. It's not that pure TikTok shit. It's not good injected into your vein. Because I watch it, and my girlfriend and I will be sitting in bed together at night, and we're just both scrolling up the For You page, and just like, you just hearing two different, songs that are hot right now in the background.
That's how much we're all in our own world right now. It used to be like we watched, like watching a TV show as an event. Now we're literally on our own personal screens. We don't even put headphones in. It's like the overlap. Yeah. It's incredible. I mean, TikTok really is insane. And the dance numbers, I hate when people are like, well, you work so hard in a joke. And I'm like, I think they worked harder on like,
no, they worked hard.
This Thriller synchronized, number. This is insane.
Well, there are also, it started as picture, like that's in social media. Everyone like, who's going to look at pictures of your lunch? And it's like, well, we've moved past that. Now we have videos on, now it's not a picture of your lunch. It's how to cook a 3-course lunch.
Yes.
By Mario Batali or whoever it is, like by, whatever.
Not Batali. He's
not Batali.
canceled.
I think he's canceled. Yeah, by Giada. Giada's teaching you on Facebook.
Yes.
We have risen to it. So just like the dances on TikTok.
Do you watch a lot of cooking shows? I like the Food Network.
Food TikTok.
You seem like a Food Network guy. I am too.
Dude, I could watch Guy Fieri. I know Guy Fieri.
I like him a lot.
Love. I am such a fan of his that I know his like how he reacts to food. I can tell if he likes it or not.
He's so positive. He's so like, he's great on the road. I miss Bourdain a lot, obviously. Like, who doesn't miss Bourdain? I was in this fucking city when Bourdain died. I remember doing the gig and just being like, going to morning radio, just like, God damn, he was like our guy because we travel so much. He made me feel like what we did was kind of cool because I'd be like, all right, I'm gonna find a cool city in like Royal Oak, Michigan, a cool restaurant in Royal Oak, Michigan. He made you make the most out of it. I miss that,
Yeah, and even the way just he spoke to the people who ran the place.
Yeah,
that was comforting. You're like, oh, I can walk in here. Like I do enjoy going to a different town and being like, and kind of being more personable with strangers than I ever would be in New York.
Yes.
And that's a Bourdainism. Like
you're living a double life. You're just like a sweet road guy, and then you're a real prick the second you land.
Yeah, the minute I get in New York, I'm like, okay, go away. I know my place is here. This is where I'm comfortable. The minute I'm in some like I'm in Raleigh, I'm like walking into the Carolina Cafe, muffin shop, and I'm like, hey, how's it going, everybody? I'm a different person.
Yes. Yeah, you turn it on a little bit. There were some good restaurants nearby there. I think there was like I think there's a Flying Biscuit near your hotel.
There's a Flying Biscuit near where I am.
Love a Flying Biscuit.
People, everyone's a big fan. The problem with Flying Biscuit is here's my issue is that when you go on the road, and you probably get this a lot, where it's like, you gotta go here. And it's never like, get the sensible thing from Flying Biscuit. It's like, no, you got to get the cow's bladder. And it's like, you have
to get the heart attack. And you're like, heart attack.
And it's like, no, I have to live. Like, I don't want hypertension.
Also, we got to perform. You got to treat your body a little bit. I mean, that's the other thing, man. I was hungover as hell yesterday, and I've been a little better. But then, like, every once in a while, it's like nothing makes me hungover now. It'll be like I had like 2 White Claws on one of these roofs, and then a few glasses of wine, and I was like, "Fuck my head," because I'm already sleeping like shit just from like pandemic anxiety.
Sure. Yeah, I took off of alcohol January 1st to middle of March. Pandemic hit, and I was like, these days are too long.
I was good. I was good too for a while.
I was really good, and now I'm back to like, what do I need this for? But I mean, listen, let's do the emails. I want everyone to go follow Sam Morril on Instagram, go follow him on YouTube, TikTok, he's everywhere. And go see him live. Sam's amazing comic. And you can go watch his special right now on Comedy Central's YouTube page, right? They were the one that
it's standup.com/Sam Morril. It's on my website. It's everywhere.
So if you go to Sam Morril on Instagram, it's right there. And that's the end of the story is Sam ended up, the Comedy Central's, you end up putting on their YouTube page. You get 4.1 million hits. It's a huge hit and success. I have people text me that know we're friends being like, oh man, I watched it. I loved it. So everyone here is going to love it. Everyone go follow Sam.
That's the risk you take. You're like, it's weird in the business now. You're like, you either get a bribe and they put it behind like a paywall somewhere with commercials, or you're like, or I can get very little money and people will watch it. It's so strange.
Yeah, there's a lottery ticket element to it, but
yes,
it's nice to see good comics get responses. Like if you're good, it will work. So everyone go follow. It's called I Got This at Sam Morril. Confused about his feelings after just one date. JTrainPodcast@gmail.com, JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. And if you're listening right now, I'm in Portland, Oregon. Go to Portland, Oregon. I'm in Portland, Oregon. Last second booking, JaredFreid.com. Also Kansas City, Missouri, JaredFreid.com.
Helium? Are you doing Helium there?
I am.
Nice.
It was like I just got it last week.
Good club, yeah.
So I'm excited. Great
you know
clubs.
what you got to do? You know what you got to do in Portland, by the way?
What's that?
You got to get someone who has like one of those Nike or Adidas hookups, because that's where like the warehouse
discount.
Yeah, but you can get. I think it's like half off, and it's unreleased stuff. I hear it's amazing. I've always missed it. I'm so bummed, but you got it. You got to make
Michelle knows somebody with that hookup.
I bet if you put it in an Instagram story, someone will be like, "I got you." I bet you.
Who's got that Nike hookup? That will be the
dude. I mean, don't you want to get a cool?
Yeah, I want
cool Nikes.
I just bought new shoes. I sat there for like an hour just staring at my feet like a loser. I was like, man, I'm cool now. JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. Jared, saw your show in Dallas and it was hilarious. Question for you about a guy I met on Hinge. We matched, exchanged numbers, and within about a week or two, we went out for drinks and sushi. The date went really well. There were no awkward moments, and we had way more chemistry and more in common than my usual first app date. We have talked every single day since. However, it's been over 2 weeks with no second date. So finally, I just said, love talking to you, but I'd rather do it in person. I love that, by the way. I think that's the perfect amount of initiative. I don't think that's crazy. I don't think that's weird. I think that's the right move. When are we going out? So love talking to you, but I'd rather do it in person. When are we going out again? He said he knows we had a great time and he loves talking to me, but he doesn't know what he really wants. Apparently, we matched the week he moved to our city and he didn't expect to meet someone immediately. What does this mean? Is he basically saying he can tell I want a relationship and he's really just looking to fuck his way around the city for a while? Should I be open to seeing him when he eventually wants to see me again? Thanks. What do we think, Mr. Sam Morril?
Well, what city is this? Because that'll say, if this is like Toledo, Ohio, he really doesn't like you. But if this is like
Dallas.
If this is like, it was Dallas. Oh, it's Dallas, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So it's Dallas. Beautiful women, man. I mean, I get it, but. Yeah, that's women. Women want a label, right? Pretty quickly, and it sounds like she wants him to make a choice, and maybe he wants to feel it out a little more slowly, which is understandable, and that makes her feel like she's not as special as she would want to feel.
Well, that's the thing. it's very easy to go down the road of I'm only going out with someone who's ready to take me out. Listen, I understand how the road of taking this personal is a road that all of us could go down. I agree with you on the city. The thing you said in the beginning is very true.
Yeah.
Dallas, it's not Toledo, Ohio. He came there are
no disrespect to Toledo, Ohio. It's just a terrible city. That's why I use it as an example.
That's the place you go to give up.
Yeah.
Dallas is the aspirational city. Mm-hmm. Dallas, New York, Atlanta, Chicago, LA, Seattle. These are places that
Boston.
Boston. Yeah. So these are all DC. These are all places you go. Chicago. These are all places you go where you give up family, you give up comfort, you give up to try and make it in whatever you're doing, and that includes a relationship. So again, if you met someone the first week you were there, you'd be like, I ain't taking the first apartment I'm seeing. I'm here to fucking go crazy. I'm Mr. Dallas. I'm going to kill my work. I'm going to kill my social stuff. Like, I could understand that he doesn't, not sure. I also understand that he went on this date thinking, I'm here to fuck. And, right? Like
sushi on the first date is a bold move.
Sushi first date, but I'm saying to keep, it's funny that it took her being like, when are we going to go out, for him to be like, about that second date. And it's because it's not that she's looking for a relationship. It's that he knows he's looking for one thing right now.
Right.
And he's looking for casual. And she put up a sign that said, this ain't going to be as casual as you want it to be. She's might be down for a version of casual, but her version of casual might sound like a prison to him. Right?
You're good. That's good. It's well said. I think you're right. I also think like winter coming up, like Dallas has got a warm winter. New York City, that's a chilly winter. You might want to shack up with someone. You know what I mean? It depends on how bad that winter is. COVID, you can't really go to bars. It's tough. It's tough to meet people, but maybe he's cleaning up on Hinge. Who knows? So
but I think again, he went from Hinge wherever he came from, which is worse than Dallas, to Hinge in Dallas, which is better than wherever he came from.
True.
So this guy can't believe, like, it's like a friend of mine comes to New York and they're like, I can't believe it never stops. I keep swiping. Like, that's how a guy looks at all those people and goes, I keep getting matches. And a girl looks at it and goes, I keep getting sent dick pics. Like, it's just a different perspective. Wow. And so I would say to her, you can't take it personally because this guy, but you don't have to take it. Don't take it personally, but you don't have to take it. I loved what she did. When are we going out again? I love that he was honest. Hey, I enjoyed your company, but I'm just not looking for second date. I'm looking for come meet me out, which is probably what he was still texting her for. So you don't have to take it, but you don't take it personally. Don't say, listen, good for you. Enjoy Dallas. You have my number when you're ready to do a second date.
And maybe when she goes away, that's when he's intrigued again.
Absolutely.
Plays the field a little bit. If she is that cool and they did connect, maybe,
Yeah, and that's not, and I know it can sound personal to her, like, well, maybe I'll find someone hotter. That's not what it's about. He's just looking to find someone else.
Right.
And you and I both know that perspective where you're like, man, I'm totally entrenched with this person. You're like, but wouldn't it be nice? It's like, so that's a very male thing where we don't fear consequence. We don't fear, getting, killed by our partners. We don't fear getting, attacked. That's all built in that.
Yeah, if a man gets killed by his partner, he fucked up. Like she did it. There's something like a Jodi Arias situation. I don't know what the hell. I mean, it's got to be something like it's bad luck or like he was horrible.
The J Train podcast is brought to you by Talkspace. It's not easy to prioritize yourself when there's a lot on your plate, but investing in your mental health has long-term benefits. And with Talkspace, it can actually be affordable. I love this sponsor, Talkspace. I love what they're doing. They're making it easy and accessible for you to get professional help with a licensed therapist. That is amazing. And right now, I know a lot of people are going through it. I'm feeling it more anxious than I ever have in my entire life. And talking to someone might be the answer for you. And with all these things, when it comes to finding professionals, that's the thing that stops me. What stops me is accessibility, is who am I going to? Is it the right person? Am I going to the right place? Am I going through the right channels? I don't want to leave the house. I don't want to go out today. Oh, I'll push it off to next week. But Talkspace is online therapy that's here to give everyone support because we all need it right now. They'll match you with a licensed therapist who you'll be able to reach out to 24/7. That's right. Whenever something is on your mind, you'll hear back 5 days a week. And there are other benefits to online therapy. It's affordable. Talkspace is a fraction of the cost of in-person therapy. 1 month on Talkspace costs about the same as a single in-person appointment. I think this is great. I think that, so many of our sponsors, we're talking about cutting out the middleman. We're kind of doing that here. You're cutting out the office space because you can speak to someone over the computer or over the, this is through Talkspace's website. So this is really an opportunity for anyone that has put these things off. And I'm one of those people. And once you're in their network, you'll have access to thousands of therapists. They have experience treating a range of issues: depression, anxiety, substance abuse, relationships, food, and more. Bottom line is we all need someone to talk to, and Talkspace wants to give us the licensed support we deserve at a price we can afford. Just for you, my listeners, get $100 off your first month with code JTRAIN. To match with your perfect therapist, go to Talkspace.com or download the app and use code JTRAIN to get $100 off your first month. That's JTRAIN and Talkspace.com. JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. Here with Sam Morril. At Sam Morril on Instagram, Twitter, go, and TikTok. We're pushing TikTok now, baby. The heroine of social media.
I'm trying to bulk up my my 18-year-old Norwegian fan base. Let's fucking do this. I'm trying to play Tokyo next year.
I would do anything to play Tokyo.
That'd be
They're
great.
They're better social distancers than we are.
You, me, and List. We'll do our
the
tour.
baseball tour.
Yeah.
She coming or not? She won't tell. A dude email. Julius Caesar of the Charcuterie Empire. Hello, what's cracking? Jared,
Okay.
I'm a listener from Bangladesh. Let's go international, Sammy. You ready? Literally halfway across.
It's like a 17-hour flight, isn't it?
This is what he said, literally halfway across the world. And I absolutely love the podcast. Have so since 2016. Much love. Listen, I'm reading this purely because it's from Bangladesh. I'm not going to lie to you.
I love it.
I'm in my second relationship of 2 years and have only had sex with the girl I'm with now. We both work and stay with our parents, a cultural thing in predominantly Muslim society, and so our sex averages out to multiple rounds once a week.
Jesus.
The way he describes this is like an 18-year-old. It feels very young.
Yeah.
Multiple rounds once a week.
Yeah.
We love each other a lot, and the sex is amazing for me. Here's the thing. I wonder whether it's as great for her too. My intuition finds myself questioning if her loud cries of ecstasy are genuine or not. I've tried getting her to tell me what she likes in bed, but she replies every time with generic, "Everything you do makes me come." We can be assured that it is not true.
I gotta move to Bangladesh. These women sound awesome.
Recently, she mentioned women's G-spot being deep inside Pussy Town, and that women can only orgasm 30 to 40% of the time vaginally. Now she's a tall girl, and I have an average 5-inch probe to enter. Okay, this guy's getting very... I know he's trying to be funny. I've read enough to know that the G-spot land is thought to be a few inches in on the ceiling, and the rate of women orgasm vaginally varies person to person. So are her claims actually a personal anecdote? The thought of leaving her unsatisfied has left me a little insecure because I'm so much in love and would hate to lose her. How do I get her to open up about things she likes or would like to explore in bed? I feel she doesn't open up, maybe out of fear of my feelings getting hurt, being told that I'm naturally not good at it and need direction, or that my probe, he keeps calling his penis a probe, which
Very strange.
that's number one. That is making me not. Number one rule for making a girl come is not calling your penis a probe. That my probe isn't big enough to dive into her G-spot land. If you remember, I don't have much experience exploring other towns with my probe. Okay, stop. And data points from experience are limited about my probe. What's that?
Maybe he needs like a running start or something for his probe.
What should I do? Am I overthinking that? Would really appreciate a response. Always much love, Jared. What do you think?
I think he seems like a pretty good guy to be this, thoughtful. Yeah. It's like a mix of insecurity, but also, he clearly cares about her and wants it to be good for her. I've definitely, had that feeling where I'm like, maybe they're not enjoying it enough. So sure. I'll ask. I'll be like, am I doing something? Could I do something to be better for you? I mean, yeah, it's your partner. Yeah. Ask what she wants. Why not? There's no shame in it.
And you really, I think the bad road to go on is to not believe her.
Yeah.
I think being concerned about your partner coming is enough. Like just the idea of him asking, like what you just said is completely right. He seems like a nice guy. He wrote an email that he was trying to be funny. He used the word probe too many times.
Too much.
What can you do? Listen, we all write to edit. But so I would say though, his concern is really all he can do. Mm-hmm. But when he asks her about it, if she says I'm enjoying, that's it. You can't tell someone how to feel. You can't tell someone to be more open with you. At a certain point, it would get annoying. If he's worried about, chasing her away, your insecurity about this could drive her away more than your inability to make her come.
Right. Just kind of confidently be like, why can't I make you come? Just say it like that. Just be like, yo, why don't your pussy work or something like that? You know what he should say? I think women like when they say, when guys say like, hey, what can I do better for you? And then whatever she says, he should go, gross.
It's always a good idea. Yeah, I think saying, what can I do better for you? And just like, and then also these conversations are generally easier in the moment. They're not as easy when it's during the post-game show. So, when we would all enjoy, I think Jimmy Dunn has a great joke about doing a press conference after sex, where it's like he's Coach Belichick. He's a Boston comic. He's got a good joke about that. And I always think about that, and I was like, man, that would be great if we could have your partner get up at the podium and go, I wish you would have done this. I wish they would have done that. Like that would be actually a solution to a lot of our problems in the communication world. But communication is a lot tougher than that. So you have to, I think it's easier when you're in each other's clutches and you go, do you like that? Is there something I'm missing here? If
it sounds like she's not giving him anything though. It sounds like she's just saying like, no, it's all great.
But if that's the case, again, also it's all. That's a good point.
That's
because
tough.
That's tough because I wouldn't trade. I don't trust a wait staff. If my waiter says everything on the menu is great, then nothing is great.
Right, that's true.
So that's something to like keep. So maybe that's something to say to her. Like when you do ask for feedback, hey, then tell me what you do like. Give me the exact, like kind of describe it to me. And then maybe you describe what you like that she does. Say, hey, I really love it when you do these. I love it when you do this. So can you give me some feedback so that I know what to maybe do more of based on that?
Yeah. Muslim women are probably culturally not as used to being like, this is what I need in bed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, this guy sounds pretty progressive considering the culture sexually. Yeah. So like,
true.
So I think
this is way better than your emails from Saudi Arabia.
Those things change from there. So I think for this guy, he's already doing a good job by even being worried about it, because there's a lot of guys that wouldn't care.
True.
So, hey, just want to talk it out. And maybe while you're in the mode of like during the foreplay, hey, what would you like me to do? Is there anything that really gets you off? These are when foreplay is happening, that's two consenting adults who are in the bubble of sexy. So it's easier to talk about those things.
I think you always gotta I think you should always go down before if I think that's just a no-brainer. You got to preheat the oven.
You got to go down on her.
Right?
If you're not going, I mean, that's the other thing. He talked a lot about his probe, so you might not be going. You got to go down on her.
Yeah.
That is like the, as far as like I'm going down first, just so I'm like, I know that has been I've checked it off the list. As unsexy as that sounds, I think a lot of guys are doing that. Just like, let me go down, let me get this done, then we can have our fun.
You run over to the corner and hit a little check box. You're just like, let me get my chalkboard. Yeah, it's important, and also I think it just for them. And I'm no expert on this, but I think it definitely enhances the sex. It makes everything a little better. You give yourself a little boost.
Yeah, absolutely. JTrainPodcast@gmail.com, JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. Here with Sam Morril, at Sam Morril on Instagram. Go follow the special. It is on YouTube. You can literally stop this podcast and play it right now. It's called I Got This, taped at the Comedy Cellar. It's a fantastic special. You're all going to love it. I love these ones. What went wrong in this situation? You ready?
Yeah.
Jared, new fan, been listening for a few months, need a little insight. I recently relocated to a different part of the country. I don't know many people here, but a friend of mine from my home state also lives here, and we reconnected. We talked nearly every day. It was nice. We were both in the same spot, recently single, so we bonded over that. We had a few serious conversations about where we were emotionally, and both of us agreed we weren't looking for a relationship with anybody. Last month we hooked up, and I walked into this completely aware that this was just two friends hooking up. I never expected or wanted anything to change from this. The next morning, he was driving me home, and he reiterated that he wasn't looking for a relationship. I was a bit put off because I had never said anything that at any point that I was. I replied that I felt the same way, knowing that I wasn't in a place to commit. That should have made him feel better, in my opinion, me reaffirming that I just wanted to be friends. Instead, the rest of the drive felt noticeably tense. In the following weeks, he barely spoke to me, then not at all since October. It's October now. We got this a day ago. Okay. Mm-hmm. So since the beginning of October. I don't understand why it feels like I'm being ignored. If two consenting adults agree to sleep together and explicitly state multiple times neither want to date one another and are being fine being just friends, not even discussing a continuation of sleeping together or being friends with benefits, why the silence? I feels like he doesn't want anything to do with me, even as a friend, and I'm bewildered over it. How do I breach the subject with him? Because I have to confess I'm a little mad, LOL. At the very least, I assume we were cool and still friends. Sorry for the wall of text, but what gives? So what do we think?
That's always tough when you hook up with a friend. Were they drunk? Did she say they were drunk?
No, it seems like it was, they reconnected, they became friends, and they have this hookup. And last month we hooked up, and I walked into this completely aware that two friends hooked up. It seems like it was done pretty willingly by both parties. Oh, absolutely willingly, considering the email, but also like, without, soberly. Yeah. So what do you think about this situation? Why would he do that? Why would he back away?
Maybe he just connected with her again because he wanted to hook up with her. And I mean, I don't mean to be so blunt here, but I mean, on top of that, hooking up with friends always makes it weird. Maybe he feels some shame or discomfort. Maybe he expected her to like him and he feels rejected. I think there's a lot of possibilities, Yeah,
I think this relates to just how men get ahead of themselves. This is a female writing in. She's writing in about a man. I think I've been guilty of this. From my point of view, I would assume if it's a friend, I think a lot of guys are assuming that females want to get into relationships. and want to be in. And listen, this isn't her that's saying that, but I'm saying generally, and I think a lot of guys have been put in this position where and not to say that they were wrongly put into the position. I'm saying I've been put in the position but we're friends and we hooked up. So why wouldn't we be together?
Right.
Have you ever gotten that before? So
yeah, I've definitely hooked. I've had it happen both ways where I kind of thought there was maybe something, but I've also had it where, I thought it was pretty understood that we were just, pals and we were attracted to one another. But I don't think look, what's the most famous maybe rom-com ever? It's When Harry Met Sally, right? And it's that eternal question of, can a man and a woman actually have a platonic friendship? And the end of the movie is them getting together. So
yeah,
I don't agree that that's true. I'm not fucking Mike Pence up here, but at the same time, I do think that it makes it pretty damn hard if there is an attraction either way, and especially if you're both attracted but don't want to be together. It's kind of like you went to like a friend's house and he was like, check out this room, and it's got like a swimming pool, and you're like, oh my God. And then you go in, you're like, that was insane. And then you go to his house again and he's like, we can't go in that room ever again. And you're like, damn, that was an exciting room.
Sure. And again, to go back to like Harry Met Sally, like, isn't that it's Woody Allen. The relationships are like sharks.
Billy Crystal. Rob Reiner wrote it.
But Woody Allen,
Annie Hall.
I'm thinking Annie Hall.
Yeah.
Relationships like sharks, they either keep going forward or they die. So that, like, in both in that line and in Harry Met Sally, there's a relationship to this email because it's like, where do we go from here? Do we and we also don't know. She hasn't really written what his situation is romantically. Right. Two adults hanging out for a couple months and you don't know any of his other relationships. Is he holding those back from you? Is he at another level with someone else and he hangs out with you in between that relationship, and now he's backing away from you because he doesn't want to get in a situation where he ruins the other? We don't know. I'm saying there's options here. He either has other women that he's dealing with, or he is afraid that he ruined the friendship and he's saying, I'm going to give this space so I can go back to the friendship. What do you think she should do right now in this situation?
He's not responding, right? I thought she said he was not really responsive, or maybe she just meant he felt like icy. I don't. It
feels icy.
Okay. So
she says, "Why the silence? It feels like he doesn't want anything to do with me, even as a friend."
I mean, look, I don't know exactly what the move is, but I would probably say, look, I value your friendship, and I had really a good time when we hooked up, but I don't want that to ruin, us being friends. I would say something that direct.
I'm with you. I think the word direct is what I was going to say, and I agree with you completely. You got to be direct. Friends are direct with each other. Yeah. Romantic situations are indirect, and that's what makes it more romantic and sexy. You want to be friends, and you enjoyed the hookup. Both can be true. But I think with a friend, you would say, I would text him and be like, hey, you're being a dick right now. Yeah. You're being a dick.
Yeah.
You and I had a moment. I'm cool with that moment. If you're assuming I want a relationship based on your ego, that's your problem. Ooh, but I'm losing a friend right now, and I don't want to lose that friendship, and I'm willing to make this work. If we want to not hook up again, I'm cool with that. But let's be adults about this. And I think the line, let's be adults about this, is the one you need to write in however you write that text, because he's being a child right now.
You're right. I think you're right. It is also, I will add, difficult when you're friends and you have hooked up, and because you kind of just have to say, we're not hooking up again. For sure. You can't have that like possibility lingering, because it changes the dynamic of every hang. I remember I hooked up with a roommate once, and it was one of the things where I'm like, so how do we do this? Like, you go to your room, I go to mine. We walk around the common area. Like, do we have to drink for it to happen again? I kind of don't know. So there's that lingering, and we were cool. She was a cool person. I mean, but that possibility can make the friendship, I think
Also-
I think usually in the woman's favor because women control the sex.
Yeah, well, also, it was both that she said in her email, it was nice and we were both in the same spot, recently single. So we bonded over that. You bonded. So now it's like, can we even trade stories about being single? Am I single still? Listen, he's handling an uncomfortable situation in the worst way possible.
Yeah.
Like you going to your roommate being like, I don't know, when does it, you discussing it with your roommate is already more adult than this guy handled it. So I think this emailer needs to bring this guy to adult world because he's sitting in child world.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like that classic child world where like sex is weird. And it's kind of like, you just got to get over that.
Absolutely. The J Train podcast is brought to you by Movement Watches. People, listen. I am a Movement fan. I'm a fan of how they got together. I love the story of this company. Two college buddies looking for a way to disrupt the watch industry. Watches were just crazy expensive, or they're just cheap. And they wanted a good watch that looked nice. It didn't look gaudy. Sometimes with watches is big monstrosity on your wrist. No, they wanted a professional, clean looking watch, and these guys went out and made it happen. And they sent me the Pacific Mist watch. It's designed with a 100-meter water rating, a rotating bezel, and surgical grade 316L stainless steel for optimal performance, featuring brushed gunmetal, blue and gray dial accents. It's a sexy watch, baby. Yeah, it looks good, and it doesn't look like... I think the thing I love about the Movement watches is that they don't look like I needed you to see my watch. They're clean, they're subtle, they're sexy, as this says in the ad. It's an incredible... And again, two college dropouts. They went from one of the biggest... from one of the biggest crowd funds ever to being acquired for over $100 million. These are entrepreneurial people that put together a company because it's something we all need. Also, it's gift giving season. If you're looking for a gift for someone you love, what an amazing gift at the right price. Movement has watches and all the different accessories. And the other thing I'm getting is the blue light glasses. I'm in. I look at a computer, I look at a screen all day long. Why don't I look like a cool dude while I do it, while holding, saving my eyes, right? And the Movement watches start at $95. You're looking at paying $400 for the same quality from a traditional brand. So get 15% off today. That's 15% off with free shipping and free returns by going to mvmt.com/JTrain. 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 Movement's launching new styles on their site all the time. Check out their latest at mvmt.com. Go to mvmt.com/JTrain and join the movement. Okay, Sam, let's do one more. jtrainpodcast@gmail.com, jtrainpodcast@gmail.com. Now, I sent this to you before. It's got screenshots. These are always, we finish the show with some screenshot emails.
Gotcha.
We love to drink the tea, quote unquote. So Are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Am I being rejected or just not shooting my shot clearly enough, or neither? LOL. This is I like this title.
Yeah.
Hola, board lord. Thank you for being my quarantine buddy all these months. Feels good to have a familiar, friendly voice in my ears amongst all this chaos. Question for you is this. A couple years back, I used to work with this guy, and we were friendly, always professional. We had the same role, so we'd strategize from time to time. No biggie. He was married at the time, and it never really crossed my mind to shoot my shot. I was being good for once. LOL. Okay, good. I like her attitude already. She's like, what? For once in my life, not letting it out there. So fast forward to present day. I found out he's now divorcing his wife, and I saw him on Hinge. Score. We got drinks about a month ago and had fun, etc. No hanky-panky. He paid. But we haven't hung out again. He hit me up once, but I couldn't go that day, and I have since asked him to drinks twice and he couldn't go. Is there a world where he doesn't know I want to date him? Should I consider what I've already done, shooting my shot, quote unquote, and move on? Or should I be more explicit? I would like to see if there could be something more than friends between us. I am okay with being vulnerable, but maybe I'm already being rejected and not accepting it, LOL. Thoughts on making a proper move that lets him know I no longer want to live in friend/business connection land, or am I doomed to be in coworker land forever? Thank you, Master of Giggles. Okay, I made that one up. Love you. Well, I love this email.
So she wants to date this guy.
Well, that's the thing. He's divorcing. Divorcing is the major word. His wife. He's on Hinge. She sees him on there. They did go out. We got drinks about a month ago. Had fun. No hanky panky. So I'm assuming that means they just had fun as old coworkers.
What is hanky panky? Is that just banging? Is that what she means?
See, to me, I'm assuming there's two ways to assume that. Did they make out at the end? But then I thought no hanky panky meant no sex. But then the more her email went, it was, he hit me up once again, couldn't go that day. I've since asked him to drinks twice. He couldn't go. And she says she wants to get out of coworker land. So now I'm assuming when she says I don't want to be friend coworker land, I want to be, in the, taken seriously as a date land. Yeah. To me, that means they didn't kiss at all. There was nothing. It was just two people catching up.
Maybe he's got cold feet. I mean, sometimes people get out of something serious and, I've been out of something serious and people were like, let's meet up. And I'm like, I'm not ready to meet. I can talk and I'll be ready to meet when I'm ready to meet. But I've been that dude.
Sure.
So I think sometimes you're like, I want the idea of moving on, but then you go out on the date and you're like, what the fuck am I doing? Yeah.
Well, I think also that's a big, there's sometimes the person in this land where they don't want to lose the option, but they don't want to take the option yet.
Yes.
And let's go to, she sent screenshots of the text. So let's read their conversation and see what this vibe feels like. You can be her, I'll be her, you be him. Okay.
All right. So
she sent them in order. She was very organized. She's obviously very good at her job. So she did a great job. Do you have the text in front of you?
I got it. Let's do it.
We're starting on September 20th, 9:14 a.m. You seeing that? I'm her. Hola. She loves the hola. We've learned that from her email. Hola. Was thinking of checking out a winery or two today in Apple Hill if you're around later.
Ooh, you should go to Booger and Lava Cap. I'm watching the Niners game at a friend's house.
And then, so she said that at 9:14 a.m. It seemingly he got back right away. Then she sent a picture of some sort. We don't know. It's just she sent us a picture later that day from the winery that she went to.
Right.
And then she wrote, "Dude, so pretty."
Love that. And this is the next day, right? So love that patio.
Hold on. She sent. So let's go back. Sorry to interrupt and sorry to confuse the listeners. So 9:14 a.m. is hola. I'm thinking of going to a winery. Then he gets back right away. He's watching the Niners game. Sunday at 3:25 p.m. So that day she goes to the winery, sends a picture. Dude, so pretty. Next morning, Monday, 8:39 p.m.
So that night.
The next night. So he saw a picture of the patio and the winery, and she said, dude, so pretty. He doesn't get back till the next night. And then he says what?
Love that patio. So glad you got to sip some wine out in the sunshine. Camino has a few good wineries, but there are lots more within the 5 to 10 mile range that are awesome. Let's try again sometime. And he does the little emojis with wine and a woman dancing.
Yeah, that is... Again, this right now, we haven't gone further in the conversation, but right now I'm convinced of the wants you as an option, but doesn't want to take the option zone.
Yes, I agree.
Like he knows you're being fun and looking to have fun with him. He he got back to you right away that morning to tell you about the Niners game. And then when you send him a picture, he waited until Monday night to get back or didn't think of it enough. So then she writes back Tuesday morning. She didn't want to be too much. She wrote back Tuesday morning at 8:12 a.m. Oh my God, yes, sounds amaze. Would love to try more new places. Champagne emoji, wine emoji. And then that was Tuesday. Now Sunday evening, she writes, next weekend for wine tasting adventure. Let's go. And then it's a picture or a GIF or something. And
then I write back, enough time. It's from old school.
That's the old school. I think it's a GIF. I don't know if there's enough time.
Oh, I don't know if there's enough time. Got it. Yeah, I don't know if there's enough time. Right, Bed Bath & Beyond. Got it.
Yes.
LOL. That is an excellent GIF. I'm moving into a new place on Saturday. So, you know what? It actually, maybe he's got a lot going on. I mean, he's going through. I mean, moving is a lot. Divorce is a lot. I mean, maybe this is not as bad as I initially thought, actually.
No, I think this is... Listen, with the option that you choose not to take, there are reasons you're not choosing to take it. There's a bunch of them. Some of them aren't that bad a reason. Hey, I'm getting divorced and I'm moving. My life is in shambles. I just lost half my money. I'm going to hold on to any woman who will even talk to me when I have half as much money, but I'm also not going to go out with them while I have all this shit going on.
It's like going to Costco after a divorce. You're just loading up on shit that you may not use, but you're like, at some point I might.
I'm going to have to fuck at some point.
Let's get a giant thing of Hellman, some animal crackers. Let's figure it out.
So she sends the another emoji from I think it's from the show Superstore on NBC that didn't really make it.
I think that was like 4 seasons, dude. That
really?
show made it. Oh, I'll check. I think it was a big show. Season 6, Jared. Jesus.
Dude, that shows how siloed off we are as an entertainment society.
6 seasons on network. That show made it.
I mean, made it. And made a lot of Ferrara. What's her name?
America Ferrara.
She was the lead, wasn't she?
Yeah, she's doing all right.
She's making huge dough. So then she sent that GIF from the super successful show. She writes, "That's exciting." Up in Placerville.
Yeah. Yes, I'll be working remote for the rest of 2020. Then maybe commuting 2 to 3 days a week to the SAC office once things are normal. So yeah, lots of trips this week, weekends in Costco, furniture stores, etc.
Then she writes back on Monday at 10 a.m. Oh, nice. Exciting times. New season, new place. Cheers to that. So do you think...
He's got red on, too. He's got the red receipts on.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah, he does. Or she does. No, he does. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So what do you think? Is she not explicit enough? Does she need to be more explicit with I want to fuck you? Or is she in friend zone? What do you think about the situation? What should she do?
I think she's intrigued by his lack of availability. You know, she was clearly intrigued. There was like, oh, this guy's divorced now. I guess maybe she didn't realize that she maybe had a thing for him when he was in the relationship. But like, he's available. He wasn't available. You know, that's something. Then now she's kind of pining after him, and he's not really giving her much. And it seems like she's into the chase a little bit. You know.
Yeah, I would say I get why she's into it. She's like, here's a guy who will commit. He's getting divorced.
Maybe he doesn't want to right now, though.
That's the other thing. She can't be too. She has to be available, but not pursuant, because at this point, he knows you have made yourself. You're like, I can go to wineries Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You know, like, and I'm joking, but I know that at this point, I think. You know, you can say to him, hey, I think there's a text that could be sent that it's like, hey, I really had fun getting drinks with you. I would love to do that again, but I know you're going through like such a wild time right now. You have my number. It works whenever you're ready to use it. And
I almost don't like giving him that much of a leash. I don't think she should be like not aggressive, but like to give someone that much, like come in whenever you want. That's almost like too available and almost to me unattractive when someone's like, I'll be there whenever you're ready. I'm almost like, boner killer, you know?
Of course. But isn't there an element of like, he's divorcing his wife? Like, I know that this is the timing thing is much often an excuse.
Sure.
But in this scenario where it's like, it does feel like he's like maybe even saying nothing.
He just got the shit kicked out of them. He's not about to step into the ring again immediately.
No. And
give him a few months.
But but if she's wondering why is he still continuing this? Why is he kind of semi-agreeing to wineries? Why is he giving me excuses? It's like, yeah, he's buying time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
I think he's kind of like, I'd like to do that, but I just had my life fucking ruined. So could you give it a minute? I mean, like, I can't imagine. I mean, yeah, I'm also the type after like a breakup when I'm in hard with the person, I can't, like, I want to move on, but you can't, if you gave it your all to a relationship, you're depleted. You have nothing to give in that moment. So I always laugh. Like I was just joking with my buddy Ron on Hirschberg the other day about like how when women put in their dating profiles, like no drama. And we were like, that means no love. Like if you want no drama, you're not giving. No drama is a one night stand. That's no drama.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
But then she was like, it's like no drama, no hookups. So it's like, well, that's not it. That's not what you. So if you're in a relationship and you're really committing, you need a minute, man. It's like running a marathon. You don't just jump. You don't run again. I gave the boxing one. I'm doing another sports one just so people are really clear.
The audience is very female too, so it's gonna listen. If you're in a Sex and the City group and it doesn't go well, but
you're not just gonna jump into girls, okay?
Yeah.
That's not.
So I agree with you for his sensibilities right now. Right now, he's definitely in a place. And you can feel it from his text. You can feel it from, he could have just not answered, or he could have just said, hey, I'm not interested. Right. He hasn't done those things. I think for her, though, she asks, or should I be more explicit? I would like to see if there could be something more than friends. I think saying, hey, I'd like to get a drink with you, but I'm going to stop trying now is maybe the best way to just be like, hey, I'm here for business. I'm here to talk us doing drinks and maybe some more. So like, hey, I'm going to back off now, but I'm trying to like hang with you. I'm sure it's pretty clear.
I like that better. Yeah, I think, you know what? I'd like to see you. Seems like you're a little busy right now. Maybe we'll try it another time. And say maybe. The door might not be open. You need to know that.
Maybe our lives are in a place where that would work. And you include yourself because maybe your life changed. Maybe you find someone else. But I don't think this is because he doesn't know what you want or doesn't think you're fun. I think this is a matter of like you're coming at him. It's like someone trying to tell you a story while you're thinking about something else. Like it's not maybe the best time. And I think
his life went a different direction than he thought it was going to go. He thought he was going to be married, probably to someone for the rest of his life. He's moving into a new apartment. He's probably having trouble sleeping, I mean, it's not a good time for someone. Oh, you're not going to come to the fucking vineyard? It's kind of like you got to chill a little bit.
She doesn't seem like she's mad. She's not pushy. She's not mad. I don't think she's wrong. But I agree with you. It's not. This is not the time to be like, so when's my date? And he's like, well, after my divorce court hearing. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I just lost half my shit or whatever. Yeah. I don't know. But
J-Train. Well, do you have more? I'm sorry.
No. I think I would move on as if this isn't going to work, and then maybe he'll text you at some point. But I would not hang my hopes on this guy right now.
There is such a thing as a note on your way out the door. And probably similar to the one this guy got when his wife left him. But it's the note that says, I've been trying to make this happen. I totally understand life is hitting you hard right now.
Yeah.
But you have my number. Hopefully, when things are better for you, they will be better for me. But I can't make any promises. But the door is you know where to find me. I think there's a subtle way to present it where it's like, hey, I've been trying to have dimly lit dates with you.
Long as you don't, I think you're right. As long as she doesn't make herself like too available, because nothing's worse than be like, I'll be there when you're ready, and you're just like, ugh.
No. Hopefully we can work it out.
Yeah.
Hopefully we're both in a place where, but if not, that's okay too.
Right.
JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. Sam Morril, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me, man. This was fun road-to-road convo.
This is perfect. Always a blast. Everyone go follow Sam @Sam Morril on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. He has got a special. It's on YouTube. I got this. It's blowing. It's already blown up. You got to go watch it. You'll love it. You'll enjoy it. I promise you. You got J-Train's stamp of approval. I'm Jared Freid. We're here every Monday and Thursday. Portland, Oregon, Kansas City, Missouri. Go hit up the Patreon, patreon.com/Jared Freid. We'll be back next episode. Boom.
Don't forget to like the video you just watched. I have many more. Subscribe to the channel right now. Like and subscribe, like and subscribe, like and subscribe, you fool. There's even a bell you can click to. Now you've got your week set Monday through Friday. I'm here for you.